another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, and we're back for our watch along slash fan commentary of Star Trek Picard Season 1. We've made it to Nepenthe. I'm so excited. Father's on mute because he's got some background noise, but oh, I think it's gone. He's back. Father, how's it going?
It's going. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm excited. This is a double header today. We're gonna do Nepenthe, and then shortly after that, we'll do Broken Pieces. And I watched them, and I love them more than I can't believe this, but I actually enjoy them more this time. I even caught some stuff that I hadn't caught before, which was really interesting. I'll try to share it if I
Hmm.
remember. But yeah, there's like a few things. In Nepenthe, I was like, in particular, I was tuned into, when we get to it, I'll point it out again, but I was just tuned into like Riker's face, Jonathan Frakes' facial expressions toward Picard and like stuff, just like little things like how they're like sitting at the dock and he's got his arm around Jean-Luc and just like the affection and like love. And it just made me feel warm and, and fuzzy and nice. And I was like, these are friends. These are like pals. They've been through death and life and and death and saving the galaxy, and it was cool. It gave me more warm feelings than I had previously. And just like Matt, who's in the audience, I cried. I bawled my eyes out. It never fails. This episode never fails to make me cry. So I might be muting during the thing, so you guys don't have to hear me sniffle during this. But what do you remember about this episode? What do you think about this episode,
I
Nepenthe?
definitely had really. Oh, we're talking about Nepenthe because that's the one
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
watch first. And then I think we're gonna have an intermission, right? And then
Yeah, short intermission, and then we'll come back
okay,
for Broken Pieces on a different stream. So this stream will end, and then I'll do a
cool.
tweet again for
So
the
as
audience.
as for Nepenthe, I had a very positive time the first time I saw this. I have pointed this out before, but I'm not typically someone who does like the real fanboyish reactions where I'm like, "Oh my god, look, it's like that thing I remember from that one time." Like sometimes I kind of make fun of people who do that too much. I think the other Star franchise particularly suffers from a fan base that really seems to get off on that. But with me, I kind of need things to have more significance. I like the stories to earn it when they do stuff like that. But with Picard, I have to admit, like every time they were bringing back some legacy Star Trek, that opening shot of the Enterprise D, and then seeing Captain Picard and Data in 10 forward, that immediately got the show off on a great foot for me. And then here in this episode, just seeing Deanna Troy step out on that
Yeah,
porch, I was just like going crazy. I was jumping up and down, so happy. And yeah, this episode, it was a very anticipated reunion between these characters, and really and truly, like, I'm going to talk about Troy specifically. The way that they wrote her here, as I pointed out on Text Trek 2 years ago when this episode aired, the way they wrote Troy is better than any of the Next Generation movies and better than the vast majority of Next Generation episodes.
I can't argue with that, but I will just say that it's because of all that that we appreciate it even more seeing her written this way. So kudos to everything that came before. But you're right, she's phenomenal here. I love that. I loved
She
her.
got to do some strong counseling. She was really
Yeah,
flexing those counselor Troy muscles in a
I like
significant way.
I especially like the scene where she's just like, I'm not that brave anymore. And that broke my heart because it's like, and then he's like, but that's because you're wiser. I don't know. Well,
Yeah,
let's get
and the
to
ups and downs of life that
it.
they put the Troys, the Troy Rikers through. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about Star Trek, as I've pointed out on these watch-alongs before, is they allow the characters to grow old and
To grow
change and
old and
mature
change. Yeah.
and experience a life lived and all of the joys and heartbreaks that come along with that.
Right on. Well, let's get to it. So, audience, this is nice. We've got a nice group of folks in the audience. Thanks for joining us. The way it works is we've got our copy of Star Trek Picard Nepenthe queued up. I'm watching on Paramount Plus as well as Father, so you got to get past the little ad they do in the little Paramount logo, and so you should see your counter at 0000, and there's 58 minutes and 24 seconds. This is a long episode. That's cool. I like that when they're a little bit longer. And it uses every minute of that 58 minutes, so it's good. Anyways, when we'll count down from five, and then I'll say engage, and that's when you hit the play button, however you're watching it. And then feel free to share your thoughts in the chat. We'll try to get to some of your questions and thoughts. And if you need a timestamp, don't be shy to ask for it. We like to give out timestamps occasionally just for folks who are joining us a little later. You ready to go, Fathery?
I'm ready.
All right. Five, four, three, two, one, engage. Previously on Star Trek Picard. Yay, my subtitles are working tonight. Or today.
Yeah, that helps when we're talking over the episode. I recommend everyone watch with subtitles so that you can catch all the dialogue while you're also listening to our incredibly insightful remarks that we'll be
For
making.
shenanigans. Hey,
You don't want to
Yosef,
miss
nice
any.
to see you.
It's a packed house today.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate it. I was worried that Super Bowl Sunday was going to interfere, but it's not till 6 p.m.
Yeah,
Eastern
still got
time,
a few
so
hours.
so on this recap, we're just getting all the kind of events that culminated. And I like just like in the most recent episode, there wasn't a mid-season break or anything, but just like in the most recent episode, you went from well, actually no, there's still action going on, but you get a little bit of a respite on Nepenthe. So does Picard and Soji. They get a moment to kind of breathe after all this intensity. Oh, Cerulean Blue, I think you're mentioning the time difference. I heard there's a 12-second time delay between us talking and what y'all like. It takes 12 seconds for your comments to get to us, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh, that's a pretty drastic.
Yeah, I thought so too. Blue was helping me figure out the timing.
Hmm. Well, because this is Star Trek Picard Season 1, every episode must open with a flashback for the most part. So here we have a flashback to a scene we saw previously, but we get the extended version here. What exactly
Exactly.
happened when O talked to Girardi? Now we find out. Oh,
Oh yeah,
she's
that
listening
she's
to the
just
opera music that
yeah.
Stamets was listening to when Colbert was dead.
Is it the same music?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's cool. Caecilian opera, right? That's what it's called.
Yes, sir. You notice her Commodore rank pip is crooked here. I don't think I noticed that the first time, but I noticed it when I watched this last night.
she doesn't uh she doesn't care about that stuff. She's a half Romulan, half Vulcan Jodvash spy. She's like she's doing it to be disrespectful. Like these are these little ways that she shows her disrespect for Starfleet. Cerulean Blue says due to Paramount Plus's 24/7 Trek channel, this will be the fifth time I've seen Nepenthe this week. Damn, Cerulean Blue.
Yeah, they have that live TV option where you can just watch all Star Trek. But it bothers me that they only have TNG and then like the new shows. I wish they would put some of the other legacy shows on there. I think they only want it to be stuff that's in HD, so that's why there's no DS9 or Voyager. But they could still put on the original series and the animated series. You know, those
Oh
are in
yeah, for
HD
sure. Those are in HD.
because it's like half TNG and then half new shows.
I love the sunglasses so much. I kind of want to cosplay like this.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting cosplay. This actress was also in Babylon 5. She was originally going to be the
That's
XO, but
right.
she's only in that first pilot, which
She's
isn't
good in
very
it.
good. I recommend people, if you're doing B5 for the first time, you skip that and then go into the first real episode.
The actress was also in Karate Kid, right?
Karate Kid 2.
Two, yeah.
And that look with these sunglasses, that does kind of make her see what, like kind of the 20th century idea of like a CIA spy type organization. There's one Bond movie, one of the Connery ones. They had a different actor play Felix Leiter in like every movie, but one of them had sunglasses like that. I can't remember which. Maybe the one in was it Thunderball? Maybe I'm not sure, but
I don't remember. So
here
there was
the
Girardi getting her
a
her
glimpse at
admonition
the
light,
admonition. Yeah.
or hearsay admonition because she wasn't there. Let's see here. The actor, by the way, who plays Commodore O is named. Darn it. IMDb's like the worst. No, I'm just kidding. Tamlin Tamita. I knew that. So this is interesting. So here we have her receiving the admonition, and I'm sure through her mind meld, O also gave her suggestions of what to do, and she even says
They talk more
that
about that in the next
yeah,
episode about
the mind meld,
yeah.
and she even says that you're going to have to make a terrible sacrifice. So it's like pretty much that's the reason I can forgive Girardi for the murder of Bruce Maddox. I don't think she was in her right mind at all. This is cool. They're like so they're being so if you remember last episode, everything comes to a head. Picard and Soji escape to Nepenthe. The Borg cube, things are getting crazy on the cube, and the Jatvash have now tractor beamed the La Sirena in order to trick them into thinking, that I guess like to
They do
hold them
the
while
Star Wars thing where they let them
yeah
escape to the rebel base, basically.
exactly, but someone's tailing them. This is so sad. The scene. This was one of the things I noticed this time around, or at least that I read into the scene that I hadn't seen before. But this interrogation is kind of like a hyper version of the same interrogation Jean-Luc gave to Hugh in a way in Iborg, and Hugh's kind of like, of course this is a lot worse, but Hugh has to like defy her in this. So it just kind of like not like in the meat of it, but just like the idea of this scene, like the visual
Jonathan
of
Del
it.
Arco really sells the pain
Yeah,
that he's and the defiance both that he's being put through here.
yeah. But I felt for Hugh. I felt like this is like the same little boy or young man
Yeah.
yeah. They're like so those Romulans,
What do you
man.
think of Narek's flight suit and the snakehead ship?
Yeah, it looks
See,
kind of like those police uniforms in the UK to me. I don't know,
you know
a
what I
little
just
bit.
thought of is the snakehead. It's a neat design, but it might work better as like a Cardassian little Cardassian scout ship.
I
Because
agree, more reptilian, right? Like I was
yeah,
surprised they called it the
like
snakehead and
Romulans
not
are supposed to
yeah,
be like bird based
yeah.
ships. So, but I still like the design. Yeah, but you look at him like down on the floor, crying, just devastated.
Yeah. And what she says to him is so horrible. She's like, this is your fault. Also, I hate you people. Like she's
One
like
of the goals of this episode was to make people despise Narissa,
yeah, and it works for
and that's the
sure.
knife from Star Trek Nemesis, right?
Yeah, it's either the same design or a very similar design as Shinzon's.
Yeah, so it's obviously a Romulan knife. But
So
yeah,
yeah, now we
like
know why
a big objective of this episode is like let's just make her like the most evil bitch possible and get the audience to totally hate her and root against her.
and it works. She kills one of the most beloved characters. Cerulean Blue says Agnes was so innocent, bright, and chipper at the beginning, and horribly scarred forever after. Yeah, she's. I wonder if they're going to address her suffering a little more. Um, and Jill asks, "Is Narissa really dead?" Please, I hope so. I think she's gone. I don't think we'll see her again. I don't think we'll see Narek again either. I don't know if we're going to see much
Yeah,
Romulans.
there is a deleted
Yeah,
scene from the last episode that was going to kind of show what happens with Narek, and they cut that out. So I
I
don't.
love the shot of the La Sirena hugging the Borg ship. It looks so good. Wait, what was the lead scene
The
of from? I didn't catch that.
of Narek on the synth planet in the last episode.
Ah, okay.
There's some deleted scenes from the next episode after this too. That's on the Blu-ray. But they don't really show too much. Eleanor making the heroic sacrifice to stay behind with Hugh because Hugh needs them.
Yeah, a bigger lost cause than Picard's, as he tells Seven later in the next episode. I like that Agnes adds the and brave part. Oh, Elnor, I love him so much. He's like such a fighter. He's like a fighter for lost causes, and it's true. The XB have a lost cause right now. They
Rios is
lose.
just like, okay, Hermano, we all think you're loco, but okay.
It's pretty funny.
He's like, I'm not gonna stay here and argue with you. If you want to stay on this cube, that's your choice, I guess. Bye. Good luck.
So
Good
wait,
luck, bro.
in the previous cutscene, they were gonna leave, and then they stopped to like talk to Elnor. That's good. At least they stopped. um, I really love that. I really love that the crew are like kind of going on their own, like separating like the Fellowship, sort of,
Well,
in
again,
Lord of
if
the
I
Rings.
can borrow from the other Star franchise again, it's like, oh yeah, like in Empire Strikes Back, you split the
Right,
party.
right on. Yeah, yeah. It's
You
a
have
good.
Luke and R2 go meet Yoda, Han and Chewie and 3PO and Leia go hide in asteroids from Boba Fett. Or
uh,
like you said, with the two towers, yeah, you
yeah,
split the
when the
Fellowship.
Fellowship splits up, but I guess it's a trope.
Yeah.
Jill says it breaks my heart that Elnor realizes that he was a lost cause. Yeah, or at least the. I mean, it's dangerous right now in the cube. It's the most dangerous it's been. It's real. It's getting real. Yosef says Elnor is a badass and at the same time a comic relief. Yeah, his innocence is like really charming and funny. Um, are you gonna assimilate me now? I wonder if the theme will change or the opening credits will change in season two.
Oh, I think that's possible. It's been 2 years. It's been so long between seasons with the show. The longest Star Trek's ever had.
Look how beautiful Nepenthe looks.
They really do a good job with the gorgeous shots that remind us of the alien world, like when we see like the moons and stuff in the
Yeah,
sky, and then when we see horns on rabbits, the introduction of the bunny corn kind of makes me think of that dog from The Enemy Within, that weird
right.
alien dog.
I bet this, not bet, but maybe this is the same like star system that the alien dog comes from.
It really does seem like a very pleasant world to go off and retire and raise a family on,
Yeah.
with good delicious food.
This is Kestra. I fell in love with Kestra. I think she's awesome.
Yeah, I remember the first time seeing this. Like, what is this, like the inhabitant of this world, or like these little short little like hooded archer creatures? We're like, oh no, this is like a human kid messing around in the woods, hunting bunny corn. Apparently,
Oh yeah, I just noticed the bunny corn hanging off her belt there. That's
yeah.
funny. She just asked if Jean-Luc is is her grandpa. This is a good little moment. I just noticed that that Soji's barefoot. I forgot that she was barefoot all last.
Yeah, because she was in that room doing the Romulan memory ritual thing. Like that just happened. That was just like 5 minutes
Like two
ago from
seconds
her
ago. Yeah, five
perspective.
minutes
Yeah.
ago. Yeah, it's true.
Well, she ran from there to the Queen's cell and then showed up here.
We get a lot of great updates, and in this scene here, and all throughout this episode. But we start to learn a little bit more about Kestra, like her brother Thad and stuff like
Kestra's
that.
really great. She's a really
Yeah.
interesting character. I like that they have the bluntness of a child. She's very curious and very blunt.
Hmm.
If she wants to know something, she'll just ask it. If she has an observation, she'll just state it.
The
And
actor
sometimes
did
it's
a good
hard for
job.
writers. Writers kind of forget how to write for children. They write kind of adultish dialogue, and then kid actors have a hard time delivering that or performing that. But I think they handle Kestra very well here. I'm
Yeah.
sure she's older than she looks. She's probably like 15 or 16 and playing like a 12 or 13-year old, but she definitely does her job. I would be curious to see her again in the show, but it's been so many years. She might look different now, you know?
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, I don't know if we'll see the Riker choice again. I think they're. I feel like Star Trek Picard's going to give us like very um, measured cameos from others.
Yeah,
But who knows?
originally the original plan was they were not going to include any of the legacy characters, and then
Yeah,
they changed on that so hard when they were writing this. And now, if you watch the special features on the Blu-ray set for season one, Patrick Stewart says, "I do hope that by the time we're done with the show, we bring back everyone from TNG."
that would
So
be
if
amazing.
Patrick wants it, it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's true.
I think it's a pretty safe bet.
Cerulean Blue points out, yeah, I wish we had more time with Hugh. I'd like to hear about development he and Geordie's friendship went through. We can still get that if we meet Geordie and, and they talk
I
about
never got the
Hugh.
impression that they were going to be like pen pals or anything. I think they just I don't know. That never was how it read to me. That
Well, in
I
Iceberg,
guess it
he
would be
has
cool
a.
if we find out that like some at some point they had like reconnected.
Hmm. Well, in Iceberg, he was certainly attached to Geordie. His whole impetus behind embracing individuality again was to because he didn't like he believed Geordie didn't want to be assimilated and he liked Geordie and he was like, no, Geordie doesn't want it. I don't want it for him. But yeah, beyond that, we don't really get much more. Here it is. This is so awesome. I like the music they did for this scene too.
Yeah,
This feels like it's a mixture of just them being their real selves and in character as
yeah.
well.
There's so much warmth and love between these
Yeah,
actors in real life. That whole TNG cast is just a big family. Will
I
Wheaton
love
says
that.
they have a big like group chat. They always are talking to each other. They're always talking about like their kids and their family and stuff. They always like go and like do hang out together.
Yeah,
The only Star Trek show that's really aged like that, where like the whole group is one big family. Like Deep Space Nine and Voyager, they kind of splintered off. You have like little groups within there, or here though it's like everyone from the captain down to Wesley Crusher. They're all this big happy family and best friends with each other. They're like in each other's weddings and
yeah.
godfathers of each other's kids and stuff. It's really incredible.
This is so awesome to see Riker. Oh my gosh.
It's a
And I
cool
love
introduction. He's listening to jazz music and
jazz
he's cooking.
music. He's cooking. Yeah, it's like.
Because he liked to cook, even though it was suggested he wasn't very good at it when he was like cooking breakfast for only Worf liked it. But
Surely he's
here,
gotten
the
better.
hug. Look at the warmth here between
Yes.
the two of them.
Oh my
It
gosh.
bothers me that Riker gets all this dough. Look at all this dough he gets on the back of Picard. Look at this next shot. Look at that.
By the
Clean
way,
that shit off.
good continuity, because he has it later when he's talking to Troy, but then it
Mm.
disappears all of a sudden in the next scene.
This is the 24th century fabrics.
Yeah, I love that the house has a shield. By the
Kazinti!
way,
Kazinti
yeah,
name
because
drop.
name drop. Yeah, they look so good, man. Like together here.
Did they darken Jonathan Frakes' hair a little bit? They gave him like some darker hair on top. Because if you
Yeah, I would
see him
imagine
like
so.
if you
He
see
is full
him
white in real
in
life. I feel like.
interviews, yeah, he's like white as a ghost on top of his head.
Jill says, "Where are the hankies? I'm not prepared for this. You can't see me, thank goodness, but I got welly eyes, like welled up eyes here." It's worse when I actually am just focused 100%. Then I just start bawling uncontrollably, and I do that choke thing, like. But here they are all together, and they're kind of like talking about what's going on. Cyril and Blue is saying, that's what I love about this cast. The hug between Picard and Hugh on the cube wasn't scripted. They chose to hug because that's what they felt the characters would have done, and they wanted to as well. The emotions you see on screen are real emotions of the actors. Right on. And Random Menace, Yosef says, Stewart is good, but so many plot points were left open, and I rated the show 8 out of 10 but I hated the season ending so much. 100 out of 10. Starfleet Boy knows that, so I'm safe here. Oh, you're don't worry, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna attack you.
I mean, I think everyone has some issues with the finale of season one. I really like season one, but I have some problems with the finale. Well, we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, definitely. It's another double header, by the way, guys. I love
There's venom sacs in the bunny
in the
corn.
bunny
That's
corn.
very odd for Earth mammals to be venomous, but this is Nepenthe. It's a
Yeah.
very different world. I like the idea of like all the food being like so healthy though, and like you like can cook like this homemade pizza from scratch using all these vegetables and this fresh meat from the bunny corn and
Yeah, and he mentions that the soil has regenerative properties, which is the reason they came to this planet. And he kind of like retired from Starfleet was so that they could raise their son who had a condition that this planet at least helped to slow down.
Kestra and Soji here. These are both kids that have lost a sibling. And
Hmm.
Soji's about the age that they said, Thad would have just turned 18. So Soji's close to the age Thad would be. So it's kind of like Kestra finally has like another sibling, another older sibling to talk to.
Hmm. Actually, like Soji wouldn't be too far away from 18 herself, physically, and like she was just finished college, I guess, and she's go was
Right.
going to go off to she just became a doctor or whatever from her studies, and so she's probably in her early to mid 20s, probably. She's
Right.
3 years old, but so I feel like, yeah, for Kestra and her, this might be like, Thad would have been 18, as we find out later. So yeah, this might be like a little bit of a brother surrogate situation going on.
They have this cool child conversation between Kestra and Soji that they use for a big exposition dump.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not so much exposition, but also I guess catching Soji up and refreshing the audience on Riker and Troy's relationship with Picard, or if you're watching Picard but you haven't seen Next Generation, which I think some people have. Discovery kind of brought in a lot of new fans to Star Trek, and I think some of them might have been going into Picard without seeing TNG, so it kind of gives them a refresher course on who these people are. But it also
Definitely.
allows us to have some insight into Soji and what's going on with her. They really put a lot of thought into her reaction to everything that just happened with Narek and yeah, it kind of makes sense that she would be very untrusting of Picard. She's like, "Oh no, like the last person that was nice to me turned out to be a monster. Like this
Yeah.
is hard for me to let my guard down again immediately after."
And in the worst way, because he was playing head games with her, and like now she's just questioning, like it is effed up, because who knows, like that could have all been a, like in her mind she's like thinking, what if this is all a continuation of that, and he's trying to get more, even more information out of me,
the
like,
the scene
yeah,
here with Troy going into
yeah,
Thad's like how she had to brace herself before she
yeah.
opened the door because of how painful it is, to have lost a child. I just love that they gave her such a thoughtful, nuanced moment like that
Hmm.
because she's a character that didn't get that much attention on the vast majority of Next Generation. But also, it reminds me of a family member I have. I had a cousin who died when he was pretty young, and like I think
Oh,
of
same here.
I think of his mom, my aunt, just like how painful that must be for her. Live in the same house with his bedroom, and I know like those pains, those memories, like they don't go away. They just linger forever.
And how long ago did he die? What was the
It
established?
was like 92 or
Oh no, I'm so
93.
sorry. I meant that, but yes,
Oh,
I care about that too.
I'm not sure.
It seems like he died when
But
he was 10, I think, or something around that age, sometime around that age. So they've been holding this room in his, like they've left the room the way he had it, for quite a number of years now.
yeah. They kind of do goof with that picture of Picard with baby Thad because he's on the Enterprise E ready room, and Thad would have been born when he was still captain of the Enterprise E. It would have been around 80 81, I guess,
Mm.
2381. But he's wearing the Admiral uniform.
Oh, okay, got it. That is a goof.
I think they
Nice.
said he didn't get promoted to admiral until he went to deal with the Romulan crisis. So
There was her line about not being as brave as she used to be, and I like Jean-Luc just kind of like having a moment here and just like reflecting on everything and just like, I get this. It's like the people they were are not the people they are, but you know, they all have these like experiences together and shared traumas and stuff. It's really nice. That music was touching too. So I don't get that like it looked like in that shot that the ship is right behind them. But he must have other kind of cloaking technology other than just like an actual cloak. Yeah, it is right behind him. See?
mm-hmm.
We're meant to believe that like I guess that's what we're meant to believe is that like I would think he'd be much further away where you couldn't even see La Serena, but it's still cool. Jill says, Randomman says venomous mammals common on Earth. It is the your X species. Oh, jeez, I fell for that. I gotta pre-read the comments.
I don't hate any of my exes. I took the Captain Kirk route
Route. Yeah,
to
I'm the
romance.
same.
I've been able to maintain some degree of respect for all
All
of
my
them.
exes and I are good friends. None of them live in Texas, though. Do all your exes live in Texas, Fathery?
Uh, no,
All right.
but most do.
This is so. Here's Girardi like trying to convince. She's freaking out right now because she's still kind of like grappling, I think, with everything, and she's like, "Do you guys
Allison
really want to
Pill
go there?"
does a great job in this episode and the next one. Like she has
Yeah.
such a gauntlet of emotions to run through, but yeah, like she really sells like the trauma that this poor girl's been put through.
I really feel bad for. I don't know where all the Girardi hate comes from. It's so sad to me because I feel like empathy and sadness and like, and
Oh, that was
like
immediate too. It
sympathy
was
out
like
of.
that first episode with her, or the second episode with her when she steps onto the chateau. Or I guess that's maybe the third episode. But I remember like from right then on, people were like, "I hate her. I don't trust her."
Yeah, it's like crazy. All right, well, hopefully we get that turned around next season. Although there's a lot of our friends, at least some of our friends, rather, I should say, who are hoping for her to get justice and go to prison and stuff. Jill's asking for a time stamp. We're at 27 minutes, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 as the crow flies.
This is a little interesting to me that like I guess one of the criticisms I have of Raffi in season one is she does seem to be like a little inconsistent and all over the place with her like addiction. And it's like, is it going to be sober Raffi or is it going to be like Raffi that's getting hot? Like here, she's like a she's told the computer like don't give her any more alcohol, but here it sounds like let Auntie Raffi take care of you, baby. What do you need? I'll hook you up with whatever you need, whatever you want. Like, are you trying to like go shoot up heroin with her or
I think she meant cake, like as we
no?
find
She's
out.
surprised when Girardi wants cake,
Oh, that's right. You're right. Yeah, I guess that's like,
but I like that character detail because it shows a certain
yeah,
degree of innocence with Girardi. It reminds us
yeah.
that yeah that she is pretty innocent.
And for Raffi, the only thing I can say is that it must be a struggle. You're so used to a certain kind of behavior and a certain way of solving your problems that you kind of like go back to that. And so with both of them, actually, I kind of see it as like a more I see it as like a more realistic thing in a sense because that's how folks I've seen folks like who are going through like AA and stuff like that who they'll like in the beginning it's very scary. They're resetting that clock in other words often. Like they talk about like how there's a clock and like every day it's like a struggle to keep making sure you're so many days sober. And so in the beginning, it can be pretty hard. And I think this mission is what's shaking Rafi out of that pattern or that rut, if you will. But we're seeing her lapse. We see her lapse a few times because in the next episode she asked for wine. That's what you're referencing, right? Like when she goes in and then the hospitality hologram
Yeah,
appears.
It's like she got clean to go meet her kid, and then that didn't go well, so then she got drunk again, and
Yeah.
then I guess now she's trying to.
Get
At
clean
some point,
again, and then
she
yeah,
decided to go clean again and like locked herself out of the replicator, and then here she's like, "Oh no, like let's go get high or
yeah,
whatever," and then yeah, it's just it just felt it rang inconsistent to me. But what didn't ring inconsistent was the chemistry between Riker and Picard here, and we see Riker immediately, go back into the familiar old patterns of both respecting his captain, but also trying to, offer insight and support, but also maybe like challenge some of his ideas, do things like a good first officer is supposed to do.
yeah.
I like that like kind of defiance of like if only it worked like that, if like keeping people ignorant of dangers
Yeah.
actually kept them safe.
Beautiful moment for Riker to deliver. Also, just him picking apart Jean Luc here and like like calling him basically and saying like, "Let me see if I can figure this out here."
And cooking this pizza outside in your yard looks
So
fun, and
good,
it makes this. I love when they find like clever
yeah,
little things to do like this, where instead of just having like two old dudes talking to each other,
yeah.
there's like something like that's visually interesting, like the baking the pizza, pouring a glass of wine,
I love that she's got data in her DNA line from earlier.
the head tilt,
The
yeah. Which we
how
saw
to
her
yeah
do that earlier on the Borg
earlier
cube, and then again here it was really obvious, and Riker picked up on it.
yeah. Baby steps.
It's
Uh,
it's funny hearing Jonathan Frakes talk about how nervous he was going into this because he hadn't acted in so many years,
he's
and
great. He
yeah,
crushes
he's just
it.
so immediately recognizable as Riker.
And not just that, bringing something new to the character, bringing new performance, bringing new like Riker ticks, like just how he like he's like so much bolder towards Picard, like than before. But they've both been like commanders now of their own ship, like it's just it's a different Riker, but like the same Riker. Love it. This is a good scene too. So this is the second time Picard pissed me off.
I want some salt on that tomato. Like
Yeah, it's like great.
I would love I love tomatoes. I'd love to like bite into like a big fresh tomato like that, but I
Hmm.
need some salt with it.
A little
So it kind
salt
of
or maybe
bothers me whenever I watch that.
good tomatoes, good by itself though. Jill's asking, do synths really need to eat? We get the impression that they don't need to, but this
She
particular synth is built to be
do
almost
we get that
indistinguishable.
impression?
What's that?
Do we get that
The earlier synth, sorry, like data and stuff doesn't
Yeah,
need
but
to, right? Yeah, yeah.
the
Sorry, you're right.
she's the new kind that's 100% indistinguishable from humans. So she
Humans,
would
yeah.
still have like a stomach and a digestive system and all of that.
It's kind of annoying. I wish you could turn that stuff off. Like if I came back as a synth, I wouldn't want that. Like, what if you get a tummy ache when you don't need it? But she is built for a different purpose. She's built to just be alive. It's not like
Yeah,
it's not
they
like
kind of explain some of the stuff here. It's like, oh yeah, like I have
yeah.
blood and I have
Hmm.
mucus, and they're really like I don't know. I see a lot of audience members kind of question this, but to me, I think it's obvious that like yeah, they're more like they're almost more like clones of people. They're like organic beings. They're just artificial. They're still
Hmm.
synthetic, but they're not like robots. Like
Right.
Soji doesn't have like computer processors and circuitry and stuff like that in her.
Yeah, we won't see her face get ripped off and see little blinking lights underneath. In other
Yeah.
words, like hopefully we never see her face get ripped off. Anyways, but but we won't see that with Soji. Although she does have a lot of abilities too. So her outside she does look human, but she has more strength. Her cognitive
Enhancements,
yeah
yeah.
enhancements. Her
So I
cognitive
guess it might
abilities.
be possible that she could have like another energy source wired into her where she wouldn't require food, but
Hmm.
I wouldn't assume that.
That's right. Data's mother also didn't know. Soji's more of a Data's mom, like a Julianne Taymor type android than, but even further advanced. Sorry, not even like that, but like more physically, like
Yeah, like
acting
I wouldn't
human.
even call
Yeah,
her an android.
yeah,
I'd just call her like a synthetic human.
synthetic life form. Because as we see later, they can appear as different life forms or humanoid. I love the scene, but I wasn't a fan of all of Frakes' performances in the season, says Cerulean Blue. The finale, don't get me started on Frakes during the infamous copy paste fleet scene. We'll talk about that when we get to it.
Yeah. Although I thought he was fine in that.
Yeah.
I didn't like they only had one ship. Well,
I love that. One of the things I love here is that earlier, I mean, we know Troy is an empath, but I wonder if she gets a read off of Soji at all. She might be just using fully
she says that she
her
can't
abilities.
read her
Yeah. I like this. So I don't like this because I got mad at Jean-Luc for doing this here, but I also like this scene
for
a
being
lot.
pushy.
Yeah, for being pushy.
And Riker's like, what the hell? All you had to do is just say dinner's ready.
Dinner's ready, yeah. But he was like, I don't know what he was trying to do here. Like his psychology was way like the opposite of like what Troy was doing was like really just listening, right? And here's Jean-Luc being antagonistic and it just didn't work. And I like this. I love that Troy comes out and just says like, listen here, buddy. Such a good scene here. Easy there, Mzadi. This is a good dressing down
Don't
scene.
you feel like that Troy's like getting back in touch with like that Troy accent from the show that she
Yes,
was kind of losing in the
she was
movies?
losing it. She yeah, here it's 100% back
Yeah.
to yeah, I agree.
Which Marina Sirtis is based on an Israeli accent that her Israeli friend had,
Oh, that's great. That's
which
interesting.
I guess was originally supposed to be the Betazoid accent, but then we meet her mom, Loxana, who just sounds like an American accent. So I guess and she even says like, "Oh, you still have your father's accent." So her father, her human father.
Could have been Israeli. Jean-Luc Picard. I like this compassionate, patient, curious, and one other thing, useful. Sometimes you have to be reminded who you are.
Yeah, but it is really cool that these are the touchstones from his past that kind of get him to let go of some of the things he's focused on, but also reconnect with who he is and his strengths. And that kind of reevaluation, they do serve a great role in the overall story by being the lenses for him to reevaluate himself. That's something
um,
that Michael Chabon talked about. What they were trying to do writing the show was having Picard reconnect with his past
mhm.
to be his motivation of moving forward with the story and shape his future by focusing on his past. The whole reason why he gets his ass off of the chateau and gets involved with this is because of the Data thing. Is because like, oh wait, I think that might have been Data's kid. So
I'm so
he's
bummed
constantly
Hugh
using
didn't.
things from his past.
I'm so bummed that Hugh didn't get to have his Borg Queen moment. But uh, we'll get Seven having it on his behalf. But it was cool that he was amped here just a minute ago
Yeah,
and
I like
ready.
seeing
Yeah,
like vengeful Hugh, and
yeah.
then the righteous Hugh, and then the first time I watched this, I was like, Hugh, why are you saying this all out loud? These Romulans are probably spying on you. And
And
then
that's
like right
exactly
after I
what
thought that,
happened.
yeah, Narissa steps out of the shadows. She's like, oh, by the way, I was spying on you.
Yeah,
And
come
the
on, guys.
confrontation of you have this Zatvash people versus this Co-op Malat kid. I like that because they hyped up they're the ultimate rivals, the Zatvash and the Co-op Malat. So here we
Yeah,
actually get to
totally.
see that conflict in action.
He's so formidable. I mean, like he's flipping around, doing cartwheels and somersaults. I mean, like he's like
He says, "Please, my friend, choose to live," but he says it in the Romulan
in the
language.
Romulan. Yeah, I gotta try to memorize that. I love the Romulan language.
Yeah,
Earlier.
like it sound like they figured out a good job like coming up with these words that sound Romulan.
Hmm. There isn't, unlike Klingon, there isn't a Romulan English dictionary. I don't think Romulan's been developed as heavily as
But they
Klingon.
did have a linguist flesh out the
Yeah.
language here.
Oh,
What about this
heartbreaking.
moment?
Yeah.
The death of Hugh. My
And
Text Trek co-host Dave, if you listen to us on the Text Trek podcast, He hated this. This was almost unforgivable for him. He almost like stopped watching Picard at this moment.
I hated it too. Uh, I've come to kind of terms with it, and I have to say that like Jonathan Del Arco dies in a heroic way, and I like that. You know, at least he tried. He was trying, and here he's giving, even with his last breath, he's like telling Hugh, you know, what he has to do. I mean, telling Elnor what he has to do, and then I like just like his last scene about how about this for a last cause. No, just lost cause is just also the tenderness between them is really touching. It's like something clicked in Elnor where he just like had a connection with Hugh, and so he decided to help Hugh, you know, and I love that.
What I
Um,
love is the larger arc going back to Iborg in the next generation because Captain Picard made the right choice there. And you know, he could have used Hugh as a weapon to attack the Borg, but because he didn't do that, because he had sympathy and compassion for this kid, for this Borg kid, for Hugh, because Picard made the right choice there. Then here, when they needed Hugh to help him escape from the cube, Hugh was there to help him,
yeah,
and
yeah, that's brilliant.
that payoff and being rewarded for doing the right thing. I like that.
Totally.
Could you eat
Earlier,
three of these
no,
giant slices of cake?
no, and I love red
What if you
velvet.
hadn't ate? What if you hadn't ate anything else all day?
No, I still couldn't do three. Like
Look
what?
at her. Look, she's so good.
Yeah, she is.
Like, have you ever like yeah, like people are like this. Like if they're dealing with this traumatic shit, they almost like burst out into tears like that.
Yeah, I mean, she conveys manic really
She's doing
well. Yeah.
weird stuff. She's like eating all this cake. She's so much distress. She's able to convey this distress.
Earlier, Cake is Eternal was asking, why doesn't she trust Picard? Dodge trusted him inherently. I think it's because of everything that she's experienced. Like, I think she would have had that protocol kick in, but oh, oh that's so gross. Vomit on screen makes me gag. Like
Yeah,
no
it looked
matter.
the red color made it look really
Yeah, like
gross.
it looks like really gross. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then
Um she's even like telling Troy, she's like, because you are being nice and acting like you actually give a shit about me, that makes me not want to
trust
trust
you
you right
even
now
less.
because
Yeah.
of what Nark's put me through. So yeah, I think she honestly, in all honesty, like she does come around pretty quickly to trusting Picard. Like it takes like
Yeah.
less than a day. But there is some immediate hesitance.
Yeah, and well, and to be fair, there's an overwhelming abundance of like love and wholesomeness. Like I would have a hard time not trusting him either. But especially after this scene where what he says to her, I feel like he really opens up here.
And
Um,
there's kind of a sequel to the scene, also around a table in the next episode that we can
mhm.
talk about there.
Oh
Where
yeah, I
we
love
just
that scene. Oh my gosh, I love that scene so much. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
kind of forging a stronger bond
Bond
between
between them, yeah.
Soji and Picard. I
Uh,
want to know more about this Captain Crandall character, by the way. He sounds like an interesting dude.
he sounds interesting. I love he's like BFFs with Kestra. Like,
Yeah, it's like this like old drunk dude who's like, "Come here, little kid. Let me tell you all these stories.
it's like who knows what Kestra knows?
Let me tell you about this one time I was going around a black hole in a Tellarite freighter and got attacked by a fleet of Gorn and
Yeah, I like older misfit characters like that, but that are very kind. And it seems like Captain Crandall's kind of like that. And he's passing on all this like good knowledge to
he's
Kestra.
got a ship called the Inside Strait that's
It's all-
broken.
it's rad. Sadly, I don't think we'll ever see Captain Crandall again, but he should get a spin-off series. Jill, thanks for sharing that touching moment about your father in the chat. That really was touching. This is him like I love that he can like he's like speaking to her abilities here a little bit and he's like there's things that you can see that are both like you know real and physical as well as like you know what I'm telling you. We absolutely need Captain Crandall in season two.
Or three.
Yeah. My theory: Captain Crandall is the Voyager's doctor, hiding out on Nepenthe during the synth ban.
Yeah.
Oh, I would
I'm not
love
sure if the
that. They
synth
gave me more
ban applies
two
to
hollows.
holograms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might just be if you're like a physical body. But they don't really confirm it either way, do they? I
Yeah.
know that Rios has a bunch of holograms on his ship. More on that in the next episode.
Yeah. Definitely. I love this, and I love the Rikers and the the Troy Riker's reaction. Like I love the shot, and they show when nothing will stop me, and they're like, "Yep, we know that." When Jean Luc has his mind set on something, there's nothing that's gonna stop him. I like that during this explanation they focus on Troy a little bit, like as she's listening.
Oh, and this is something that makes it feel like real life with kids or something. Is that like while she's describing all this stuff, Kestra is like texting Captain Crandall, and
Yes.
he figures it out. Where he's
Yeah,
like
that's cool.
kids, always on their phones, kind of stereotype.
Romulan interrogation techniques and just in general their like secrecy and like their ways. Even though I love the Romulans, but their military is like abhorrent, and everyone here at this table has been affected by them in some way.
Cerulean Blue needs a timestamp. It looks
Oh,
like.
timestamp. Friggin' Wi-Fi stuttering. Got it. We are at the dinner table at 46 minutes, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. Let me know if you need a fine tuning, Cerulean. Actors who could play Captain Crandall, if not already used, I would have said James Cromwell. Oh yeah, that would have been great. He would have been great as Captain Crandall. Who would you want to play Captain Crandall, Father?
Let's get Jeffrey Combs back into Star
Yeah, why
Trek in
not?
front
Like
of a
he's just.
camera, not just voicing a character. Cromwell is actually in Trek one, two, three, four times.
Yeah, he's in heavy makeup in one, right? He plays that weird.
He's in heavy makeup a couple of times. He's heavy
Yeah.
makeup in Next Generation when he was what is it Uridian
Oh yeah, that's right. He's a Uridian.
named Shrek, and then he was a Karaman weapons dealer in the Deep Space Nine episode The Ship, or no, Starship Down,
Oh yeah, that's right.
season 4.
This is a little funny to me and weird that he try that he that he's like doubtful of Rafi. I feel like they've been through a lot of adventures together, but then again, maybe they haven't. Maybe they just have like a. Maybe they haven't really been
That
on
makes a
like
lot of
that many
sense to
adventures,
me because she does seem like the one who'd be compromised. I mean,
right?
first of
Because
all, like
he does
Rios,
say she went down to the planet, she was gonna leave us, and then she comes back. Like,
I
What's that all
I
about?
like
Yeah.
this a lot. I like this a lot because
Okay.
Rios is smart. He's a savvy dude. He's pretty close to figuring out the truth, but he's not infallible. He doesn't have it exactly right just yet. He's thinking someone on the ship might have a tracker, but maybe it's Raffi because first of all, like I mean, like she's uh, a crackhead conspiracy theorist, so she might be easily compromised.
I think
It would
Snakeleaf
kind of
is
make
more
sense
like
to be
pot. I think
suspicious of
she's more of
her.
a pothead conspiracy theorist, by the way. But I don't know. Maybe Snakeleaf's meant to be more like crack. I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you. And then the moment when she kind of confesses, and he has a moment to like think about it, all of a sudden there's something that distracts him from it. So you're right, actually. Like, because he's like, "What you? How could it be you?" And then he gets distracted. So I agree.
And then this is so dark.
And Cake is pointing out that he thought he was baiting Jurati. Yeah, this is super dark.
Yeah, it might have been that he was. I think 2 years ago when we covered this on Text Truck, I think that was Dave's suggestion.
But he does. If he was, then he does try to confront Rafi anyways, though. So yeah, he could be working a bunch of angles here. She goes over to the 3D printer replicator. That's like a real life 3D printer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, they could have put a
It
couple.
dings like a microwave too when it's done.
It does. Oh gosh, it does. They could have put a couple of tape, little lines of tape on it to make it look a little more futuristic, right? A la Michael Okuda. So convincing, like her nasal stuff too. Like that's like something you rarely see when people are crying, but you do, like in cinema, you rarely see the snot coming out of your nose, but they have it on her too. It's like she's
Yeah,
such a
like I
good
don't know,
actor.
like as dark as this is, like this does read as pretty realistic and genuine to me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I
this
agree.
feels like someone, yeah, who is killing themselves.
Thank goodness for the emergency medical hologram. Oh, geez. I can
Yeah,
never
I love.
watch like regurgitation. I have to always turn my head away. It's too much. He's like, not you again.
I love the
Don't-
Rios holograms.
Yeah.
We don't get a ton of time with them, but
No, we
the
don't.
next episode does have
Like a great scene with all
a
of them
great
in it.
scene. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so they finally supposedly shake the tail. Oh, he's flying. I just noticed this. He's flying it with just a joystick, father, and it's with it's like, I didn't realize that. Like a what would you call that on a plane though? It's not called a joystick. It's called a
Control stick, maybe.
yeah.
There, or according to Star Trek Insurrection, it'd be called the manual steering column.
I love that that expression that Rafi just made. Like, what the heck is he talking about? Like, what's wrong? What's up? What's up with him? I've always wanted to do that. You know how he just like put his feet on the sides and just slides down.
Slide down like
Yeah, I've
that.
always wanted to
Yeah.
do that. That's such a cool thing.
You know, he goes from the front of the ship to being in the sick bay pretty fast.
Pretty
I guess
fast.
he's practiced that move before. That
Doesn't
shot of
Kirk
all
do
the
that?
Romulans closing in
Yeah.
on Elnor.
I don't know if it's clear, but we find out next episode that he's in Hugh's quarters right now, and that's why the Fenris Ranger thing is there, which is cool. As he always had that
Yeah,
as
so there's
a
this whole
resort.
implied story of Seven not only meeting Picard at some point prior to the show, but also meeting Hugh. So
Hmm.
all of the XBs that we know, like they all knew about each other and have had met at some point.
Hmm.
I like that.
I hope they explore more of that in the novels if they haven't already, or comic books. I'm starting to get back into comic books. You all have kind of inspired me, and so I want to start reading more comic books. But I want to kind of focus on Star Trek because that's what I love.
Well, IDW has been doing a pretty good job in recent years.
Yeah, what got me really excited is Aaron Harvey made the cover art for those Discovery comics. So I think I'm going to read those for sure. Uh,
This the comparison of the
of the two crews.
Enterprise D crew and the La Serena crew.
It's interesting that he says these guys are carrying a lot more baggage than we ever seem to do. But then he's like, who am I want to talk? I do like that Rios was like, listen, I already told you the last two times what our ETA is. Active reserve, this is like that's his status. I like this. I hate this. My subtitles are like like a whole 5 minutes behind. Does that ever happen to you?
Oh, that doesn't happen to me, but Dave says that happens to him sometimes on
Oh,
Paramount
interesting.
Plus. It used to happen to me, like Discovery season 2. That happened a lot, but not in recent years.
Yeah. CB says Rios is going to feature heavily in season two. I hope. I hope so too. And also, this scene had to have been fun for the two of them just
Yeah.
chilling, being pals. Yeah, and especially in this setting. This reminds me a lot of Gainesville, Florida. Dear friends
Mm.
of the family have a dock out there on a lake, and it just kind of has a similar vibe with the reeds coming out and stuff. So,
Hey, there's a big pier like that right next to the hotel I'm staying at in Florida in a couple of
oh, right
weeks where
on. We'll go
where I
hang. We
plan to
gotta
hang out. We're gonna
recreate
yeah,
that
we're gonna
shot.
recreate that. Yeah. So if you follow us on Twitter, you'll see a picture of Fathery and Starfleet Boy chilling like that.
I love it. Oh, thanks, Jill. I am watching on Safari right now. Okay, cool. Next time I'll just do all. I
Oh
should just
yeah,
stick to Chrome all the time. I
yeah.
should
I use Chrome for
should have
everything.
learned that.
Everything works better on Chrome these days.
Cake, more Rios, more Elnor, and more Laris. I think it's Laris. Is it Laris or
Laris, yeah,
Laris? Yeah,
or
please.
Laris. Is it
Laris,
Laris? Yeah, I think that's how you say it.
yeah.
Yeah, it sounds more Irish, doesn't it? Laris.
Laris, yeah. Yeah, more of them for sure. This is nice too, where she's like, "You have Captain Picard," and she's like, "No, I don't, but you could."
Oh, the shirt that she's wearing, it says the Sex Phasers in Klingon. So it's like,
Like
I
the
think
Sex
there's a
Pistols.
Klingon acid punk band. You know that's a genre of music, but yeah, it's like the Sex Pistols, but they're the Sex Phasers. Sex Disruptors would have made more sense if they're Klingon, but
But yeah, we'll let it
bands can be
pass.
creative with their naming.
Aw.
That's what I used as my thumbnail when I made a thumbnail for this podcast slash
That's
YouTube
what the
video two
thumbnail
years
is
ago.
for this
Yeah.
watch along too. So
Oh,
great minds. Oh, we're coming up to the end. I like she gives her
the broken
compass.
compass.
Yeah. Well, it's broken because Nepenthe might have a different magnetic pattern or whatever than Earth does. But
Um,
later, that compass comes back into play next episode actually, and it points
speaking
north.
of little details like the Sex Phasers T-shirt, should we point out the connections of the name of the Troy Riker kids?
Oh yeah.
Kestra is named after Troy's sister who died as an infant.
Hmm.
And then Thad is named after the American Civil War soldier and Riker's ancestor, Thaddeus Riker.
That's right.
So lots of you. Yeah, look at that beautiful alien planetscape.
Planet, yeah.
I love that the
The other,
sci-fi visuals.
the other thing that's like, interesting in terms of connections is that like, um, you know, Picard mentions like, how Kestra's like feeling the loss of her brother, and Picard points out, well, you must relate to that even deeper because Troy, as we know, lost her sister. So yeah, it's cool. Lots of good stuff. This is the episode that I put in my top 10 of all time. And Yosef is right. It's mainly because of nostalgia, but we also get a lot of story progression here. I mean, we also get the death of Hugh, a major character, a beloved character, I should say, um, and an advancement to the plot. We found the planet that we're gonna go to. We have to get to it now. So yeah, I don't think it just relied on nostalgia alone. I think it's a good episode by itself with great performances.
Right on. Well, we have another episode to discuss in a moment.
We certainly do. So we're going to be ending the stream right now, folks. So if you go back to the Starfleet Boy main channel, it should be there. Also check Twitter for a notice I'm about to post it. And if you like, and I mean if you subscribe, you'll get notices from YouTube when we do these. So see you in a few minutes, Father. I'm going to go refresh my drink here, and I'll see you back.
All right, cool.
All right.